I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to double check it. Yep, it's there.
Okay,
Yay.
we're live. Thank God. Hopefully, it's working this week. Cork helped me through how to get it working correctly. Apparently, the last few times, you can't just go to something that's logical where Google says start a Hangout. You have to go through another process. So anyway, hopefully we're live. This is our weekly meeting at repealgunoffs.com. And I want to thank my good friends for showing up. There's GQ Prepper. How's it going?
Hi, fine guys.
Just Dano. Dano, we call him.
Thank you.
MK74 Tom. How's it going? There's Court. Thanks, Court, for coming.
I'm good for something at least.
I'm sorry.
I just said I'm good for something.
I'm not giving you enough time to respond, am I? I'm sorry. And there's Warthog, sorry.
Howdy-ho.
I'm trying to go through the introductions too quickly. I don't know why. I'm just so excited for us to get going for some reason. I think one reason why I'm excited is because if you all noticed that after the Hoss and G-Web's representatives at the SHOT Show, our membership basically doubled.
That was
So
nice.
I'm excited about that. Hoss made a video, and G-Web's arranged to get him business cards, and he passed those out at the SHOT Show, so I was really excited about that. And so, where are we? Where are we now? I think what I want to say first is I stand in solidarity with my brothers here, GQ, Dano, MK74, Cork, Warthog. I think we stand together on this whole thing. And any kind of debates that we have in public are just that. They're just simple debates, and we're working through them. And we're all happy to be here, and I'm glad you guys are here. So one thing we did talk about, I don't think we talked about this with Dana, was maybe doing like old and new business. I don't know. Since we haven't given Dana the benefit of the doubt, we should just go ahead and do what we normally do. But we were thinking that maybe we would try to jump right into topics, but since Dano hasn't been part of that discussion.
The only thing I'm going to ask is do you want to do action items was first, which were things we were actually supposed to do, and then we can get into discussion, because discussions can go a long time.
Right. Okay. Well, it's kind of one problem I've been having is myself is that when I come to the website, like I'm having a hard time seeing like current action, or so I don't know if you all noticed, but I put the little scrolling thing at the top that has a link to action items, and people can go see, and we can talk about what we want that to say, like that link, whatever we want it to say, so that people kind of know what our current. Because when I go to these websites like the NRA or the Gun Owners of America, it always seems to be static. Like there's nothing really. What's happening? What's going on?
I don't see I see things going on the main page. I see things going in the forum. I don't see static.
Okay. Well, I think that's because you are active, though. For new people, and I was concerned about this, for the people who joined based on Hoss's video, or when they come in, how much research do they have to do? How much poring over the forums do they have to do to find out what's going on? So I just thought it'd be kind of cool to have a little summary somewhere that said, "Hey, this is what we're doing at the moment."
Well, I mean, for things that are changing weekly, like what we talk about in their meetings, and this is just my opinion, there should be something on the front page that does not get pushed down that says, if you want to see what happened this week, click here, and it takes them to whatever we've decided for that week.
Well, that's what if you click on the action items or whatever we want to call it, that's what it does. And
Okay.
With that, and whatever, that's what I'm saying. When you click on that, that's what we can decide what that says.
Okay, but that sounds good.
Yeah.
Works for me.
And it also kind of gives new people coming in a sort of a, hey, there's a hangout Saturday night. Well, I don't know it's hard to get all that stuff on the front page because it does scroll down. So.
Do you want me to run through the action items and then we can begin the regular discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. And these are not in any particular order. First, which is done, which is SHOT Show. Tony, you got Haas USMC to do kind of a PSA promo video about repeal gun laws, and so that's great news. Also, another action item, which was mine, was I contacted Congressman Thomas Massey's office. He's a Republican out of California, and for those of you that may not be familiar,
Kentucky.
I'm sorry, Kentucky. He introduced H.R. 86, the Safe Students Act, which would repeal the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990. I called his office and relayed the message that we had discussed last week, and then I asked them if they had if there was anything that we could do to help that effort, to please let me know. The person gave me the name of his. Let me try to pull it up here. Oh, I just closed it accidentally. Anyway, the name of his political director and her email, and so I emailed her directly. But I sent it out on Thursday afternoon. I have not received a response back, but basically it was similar to the verbal message that I gave as far as wanting to show our support of that, and if there's something that we can do to help that effort along, please contact me and let me know. So
that's cool.
Next, if I hear something, I will repeat back on it next week. So it's done as far as my part, but when I hear back, I will continue to let you guys know what I hear. So, and then after that is the NRA show. And I know that's down the road a little bit, but Tony, do you want to touch on that at all, or?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you mentioned that because I did get the T-shirts back, and I'm glad I asked for sample products because, the one thing that they complained about was the fact that our graphics they started out so small that when we blew them up, they were kind of fuzzy, and that shows up on the T-shirts. So I need to order another sample of each one. I need to get that to them. And the other thing I want to do is warn you guys that the size of the T-shirts come a bit small. Like this, the way these Iraq Vet 8888 shirts were cut were just perfect. They fit. You order a 4X or whatever, that's what you get. But at Spreadshirt, they seem to be a size smaller than what you order. So I think that may have something to do with the quality of the actual shirts they sell. So,
are the shirts? I just have a question. You mentioned the quality. Are they the kind that if you hold them up, they're like really almost kind of see-through?
They're thin, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like those.
Excuse me, just for 1 second. I'll grab one.
I'd rather put $2 or $3 more in and get something that's thick.
Well, Spreadshirt gives you the option. You can use their basic T-shirts, or you can go up, depending on how much you want to spend. So Spreadshirt does give you the option to their premium T-shirts, which are a few bucks more, which
that's good.
Are a little thicker.
I guess it's hard to judge thickness from a website order, so it's kind of, you can pretty much base the quality, is going to improve with price, but.
Yep.
Yeah, plus with the sample T-shirts, let's face it, not the cheapest one.
While Tony's looking for the T-shirt, the political director's name is Sina Cranston. That is her name for the congressman.
You're muted, Tony.
Congressman Massey out of Kentucky. So if anybody out there is interested in getting more information, feel free to contact me directly, either here at Repeal Gun Laws or over at Gun Channels.
That's just the basic white shirt.
Yeah, this is
Nothing
the
special on it.
white, which turned out pretty good. It's just that the graphic kind of small.
Yeah, I was gonna say the graphic needs to be bigger because it's.
Yeah, it looked bigger and that's why I ordered samples, because I didn't have a sense for how big. Now I learned something from this one, and that is that I should send it without a background, because, and y'all can tell me if you see this or not, the black doesn't match,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
bumper
looks
sticker.
pink.
and it's pink. So let me get back a little bit.
Yeah, that should be transparent background.
Transparent background, and the red. I think the red would be better if I had a transparent background. So,
Correct, it would be.
the nice thing about Spreadshirt is, I'll be honest with you, I don't order my artisan T-shirts from them. I order it from a different T-shirt company because I like more quality and I like the pockets. I put my artisan logo on the pocket, but I'm trying to do something that people, affordable, that people, will buy. But I guess we just have to decide, whether we want affordable or just a little more expensive, But I'm going to order 2 more, and then the thing about Spreadshirt is the only advantage is that you can order 1 at a time. A person. We don't have to order 3. I had to order 20. When I ordered my artisan order from the other company, I forgot what it was. I had to order 20 shirts. So that's kind of the difference between ordering one.
And then, the problem with ordering shirts, and then you got to ship them back out, and then it's how many extra large do I need, or how many
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying there's some trade-offs. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. And Spreadshirt does allow you, if you didn't hear me before, pick the quality of the shirt you want too. They've got different qualities. They got like their premium, they got their basic.
Okay. So let me try to, just so we can kind of move on from that, let me just say if everybody agrees, I'm going to order 2 more samples, and then we can go from there. Does that sound good, or?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. What else, Dano? Did you have anything else?
As far as the action items, that was it. Now, from here we go back to the ongoing discussion of the goal, and of course, did you mention patches already? In addition
we're just waiting on them to be mailed to us.
Then it's we just have the 2 things of the first goal and the call to action letters, and that's it. So have at it, guys.
Well, I'll go first. I submitted mine, but honestly, mine was more about wanting to try to address the format than anything. I did mention points on there, and I was trying to stay to the point. But we may decide that a bulleted type thing, maybe like we were talking earlier, that we have different formats for the different occasions or purposes. Maybe we have a letter for one purpose, and for phone conversations we have a bulleted something that you can just look at quickly and have your talking points readily available or whatever. So,
and I think that makes a lot of sense, because you never know when you might bump into somebody, just in and about your life.
I think those are, to me, what I'm trying to do for me personally is try to develop the philosophy in short, concise statements. But I do, and I'm not, but I do see the value of like what Warthog did with the format he came up with, where you basically have an objective and then sort of an underlying statement.
If we decide that one of the things we want to do is what Ruger did, which is basically put up kind of a form letter, but then the user is allowed to adjust it as they see fit to then send off, then yeah, we would want exactly what either Warthog or GQ kind of did. Either one of those things basically fits that same form.
Right, and I wasn't trying to discount what GQ did either, because the graphics are good. Some people are graphic people.
I'm sorry.
I think as we've created some content, and I've looked, to me, it's that age-old, geez, I'm biased and I agree with all of it. Which one do I present? And there's a lot of good points. I mean, I read GQs and I'm like, he really makes a very good point about, hey, you said you're a conservative, you got put in the office, you're here, let's see the goods. So there's lots of themes that can develop out of these. I mean, mine is very trying to make the legal basis that a congressman or woman should pay attention to this. This is not just us, showing ourselves. We're people who are demanding action based in law and principle of inalienable rights, in effect. And I like what you did, Tony, too. I mean, there's that message from the bullet list statement that really, I think, frames it short, sweet, simple, to the point, and allows you to, I think, a good starting point for most anything. So how do we vet, in effect? What do we want to do? And this is where I kind of said, well, it's almost a menu of things that we can start creating, and it gets to the point where, at what point are we creating too much, muddling the message? Where do we start? So
I have an idea. You just kind of gave me an idea. Maybe we have three things that deal with three different types of people. Maybe we have a graphic version like GQ. Maybe we have a letter version that we can mail, and maybe we have a bulleted version that is like a talking point, like if we're going to the NRA or something. Because, people at the NRA convention aren't going to want to see a letter, when we're passing out things. So they may want to see some kind of graphic, But
yeah, I think the key thing there is to get them steered to the website. I think the website needs to be the landing point. So whenever they get a business card, I thought, business card with your bullet points on the back, something like that. There's things we hand out. But eventually, we actually might even have a special link. We might want to talk about this on media that maybe doesn't just take them to the happenings of the day, but maybe, I don't know, maybe have variations of your web link in your products that we create that might be more targeted as to where somebody shows up, like, hey, this is the argument, they land right there.
Philosophy or whatever.
Right, as opposed to the, the forum post of the day.
Right. So it's funny. It's almost like what activity you're involved with. The only thing I was concerned about, and of course I didn't mean to get anything personal. I was afraid that if we got into the special interest groups would start coming to us and saying, well, what about our group? What about, like I could say, what about fat people? Where's my representation? So
this gets back to the point. There's too many perspectives to present.
Right.
We're a very small group.
Right.
We can only, I think, give the best cases, not all cases. And that's one of the things I think we struggle with. It's like, where do I even start peeling this onion? But and that's where we need to have a conversation, I think, in vetting about, do we use legal arguments as, to who? Do we use, rational arguments to who? I mean, see, there's many arguments that we can present before the American people and our Congress people, and they're different, in effect. I think if you read GQ's link that he gave us on the gun group and what it takes to be successful, GQ, what was that group called? It was like it was the NRA or somebody, I can't remember.
I put a web links thing up on the menu.
Okay, it's in the menu.
Yeah.
It's an excellent reality check for all of us. I mean, it really is. It's like, there's the way you think it is, the way you want it to be, but this is how it is. And I think that should be instrumental in guiding our messaging.
Yeah, I want us to start kind of collecting those links so that we can kind of refer. And that's, anytime you guys find one like that, I can put it up there, and we can kind of have a database of links that we'd like. But I think, it's funny because every category that you come to, say legal, the legal category, you can either be sort of broad or concise. You know what I mean?
Well, legal comes in different shapes. Legal to a congressman or woman is not really going to mean a bunch other than, there's law here that maybe I should consider. I mean, if you're doing and that's a legislative effort, but if you're doing obviously if you're doing a court challenge, then legal becomes a totally different context,
Right.
citing case law.
And of course, we would have experts doing that. Right. If we were actually lucky enough to have an attorney take this on, they would have all their resources available to them.
Yeah, I really wish that's probably my biggest pain point is I have to go to forums and stuff and ask people just for opinions, but a legal opinion from an attorney who's deeply immersed in this. There's a lot of attorneys out there, but they deal a lot with trust, and when they talk about NFA, they really don't come at it from our approach in anywhere I can find it.
I met an attorney when Hoss was in town. There was an attorney that took the court. He would spend a week with Hoss, and they had already become basically brothers. And the guy gave me his phone number. I need to look it up. I need to invite him one night to the hangout because there may be somebody like him would be willing to kind of give us advice, you know.
Well, that's the thing. If there's an attorney that's sympathetic to the Second Amendment and would do some pro bono with this, boy, what a
even just giving advice, you know. Here's how that would be invaluable. And GQ, you haven't said much. What's up?
I'm okay. Just dealing with a little bit of a headache tonight. That's why I'm not making a lot of noise.
Well, I just wanted to make sure everybody got their 2 cents in tonight. What I meant to do was go down the row and like have a topic and let everybody just spiel on it, you know. But I think it's funny because does everybody kind of agree with that approach that maybe we should? And you know, Warthog, you may be able to take a look at the bullet points and word them better. You know, I was dealing with the time issue today, and those were things that were on my mind. But there may be better words for this.
No, I gave them one quick look, and I think you could maybe tweak them some. But goodness, it seemed to those bullets mimicked my thoughts pretty closely. I mean, but I guess the point is we can start revising, but at what point do we want to transition into please take this to your congressperson? Where do we I think that we'll probably see revisions of efforts throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see I would love to get that legal counsel you just mentioned. I mean, I'd love to not. I don't think as a group we're doing people a service to release a letter that's probably at least not maybe had an outside legal perspective given to it. I mean, I think it would really add to some confidence level that okay, these letters or these messages have been vetted, if you will. I think they're good. I mean, obviously, I don't. But that outside perspective can be very valuable in seeing what maybe you're missing something.
I agree, and I'll text Hoss, and as soon as he, reminds me, the guy who gave me I think the guy's name was David, but I have like 20,000 Davids in my phone.
So maybe we should agree as a group. Maybe we can't finalize anything, but can we maybe come up with categories of messages? I mean, I think obviously there's a congressperson category, there's a general public category. I mean, maybe, and then we can start maybe trying to populate those on the website in what we'll call draft form, and then those would be specifically targeted. I mean, do you even want to do a media letter? You could even have, what if somebody starts poking around from the media and asking, well, what's this about? Have something already prepared. There's so many, we talked about a PR effort and a media effort, a messaging effort. I mean, it's a very broad potential field of topics.
It wouldn't hurt to have a link, in the menu for media,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Media, responses or outreach or whatever.
Something that I know for a fact is going to happen if it already hasn't happened, and that's that a congressional aide is going to be looking at our website because I've already contacted her. All right, so I want to put that out there, and then I'll let you all discuss it.
What is that generally like a statement or like a?
I mean, I spoke to her. I emailed her. I'm sure before she replies to me, she's going to check out what's this repeal gun laws thing.
Right.
I mean, it's just natural.
And I think that's, we have a section about our goal. Maybe we just need to look at that again, and that's a good start. But eventually, we need to have a button media people can click on and say, here, maybe here's even downloads, flyers or business cards or whatever, contact. And one thing I need to do is set each of you guys. I think we're at this point where I can set you up with a GQ prepper at repealgunlaws.com or whatever, or Dano, because I feel like there's only one email address right now, and it wouldn't hurt for you all to have your own email address.
Actually, I could use that. I've been talking with some people in forums and things about this topic, and using the repealgunlaws.com kind of banner. Yeah. I would love to have been able to.
You all just send me what you want it to be, whether it's like mine's Tony at repealgunlaws.com. What you want it to be, and I'll set it up, and then you can start using it, because it's amazing. If I just reply to certain people, I have my Gmail set up so I can. That's an account I can reply to people, and then they start using it. It's funny how that little thing is also a marketing effort. How the people look at your URL, they look at your email address.
Oh yeah.
It's and I think it's kind of cool. And I've got like 200. I think we can have up to 250. So I was, eventually, if we became popular enough, I was going to offer to, for people, people who went through the Patreon at a certain level would get an email address or something like that. That's kind of a little marketing effort, but you all get one free, obviously. So y'all just email me what you want it to be, and I'll set it up. And then we can put it at the bottom of the flyers, like when we go to the NRA, there won't just be one, because I feel kind of funny right now, just being one contact point. So.
You mentioned also the website format. I think as we go through different efforts, we kind of did a vote. We polled what can we do, all laws, silencer suppressor laws, or SBR laws. We're kind of in a mode now where we're trying to go down two paths of just NFA items being suppressors and SBR. So I think the website could take on, depending on what mode we're in, what goal we're pursuing, the website might, take on that look and feel and flavor, and not maybe be as general. I mean, or once again, a page that you fall to that really emphasizes that effort, because, I think eventually we're going to see people who are very passionate about this wanting to say, hey, I'm interested in that. That's what I've been doing. I've been out looking for these people who are posting on the SIG brace issue, like, gosh, what a crappy thing to have happen. It's like, hey, the way to fix this is through SBR law change, go here. And all I can really give them is that general page. So once again, maybe an issue splash pages where it's just, boom, here's your SBR page.
I think it's kind of cool. I think that'd be kind of cool. The only thing I'd like to do is kind of maintain an overall, I like the fact that we have an overall goal of repealing federal gun laws, but then our projects are, we have ongoing projects. I don't want to get pigeonholed.
No, project page. Okay, yeah. A project page, if you will, to say. Because if I'm talking with somebody about SBRs, I might want to say repealgunlaws.com/SBR to them, and just.
That's a good idea, because then we could have all the graphics, like GQ's graphic page, and
exactly
the bullet points, and then whatever your letters, they're all just there.
You can do a /suppressor/NFA/ whatever we're working on.
That's a good idea.
That was a brilliant idea, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe the menu item is, projects or something like that, and then there's a sub menu under that that says SBR silencers or whatever.
Yeah,
And
good.
you
A drop down, yeah.
Yeah, drop down. You scroll through it, and that's a good idea. That's actually more better way to organize it. Than the one thing that frustrates me about a forum is that it's not very well organized.
No, it's
Yeah.
it just rambles. It just
Yeah.
kind of becomes muted because it's just like this haystack of stuff. It's like,
And that's why I was doing that little scrolling thing at the top. I was trying to figure out a way to direct people to the point where we wanted them to go. You know.
I don't know what other organizations we can look at how they've managed it, but usually you can go out and just try to mimic something, find something you like and mimic it.
Well, that's the problem. I see a lot of these, even your favorite gun organization, you go to their website and it looks almost static. You go there once, go there 3 months later, it's the same thing, you know?
You can always put a module in that's not, but
yeah.
Once again, okay, you didn't like that. Go find what you do like. I mean, somebody's got to have it.
The problem is these people don't have the budgets, and they're not smart. I hate to say this. A lot of people aren't savvy enough to have a non-static website. They pay webmasters, and in the industry, the little trick, the little dirty secret is that they create static websites, so you will have to go pay them to change it. You know, and if you use a content management system like we're doing, then anybody can change it on the fly, and we don't have to pay webmasters to do it. And you can tell, you can go to any of these websites and see who has a webmaster and who doesn't.
Well, it's enabling to our effort, and
yeah,
it's very, very nicely what we do have. But
anyway, is that we've only been going 36 minutes. I feel like we've accomplished a lot already. What do we want to do? What do you guys want me to do for next? Do we want to take? Do you all want me to take the stuff that you've submitted so far and put it on a page like that? And we'll have a menu item, and then it'll scroll down and just to see what it might. And then maybe that's the beginning of that.
I really would like to start getting some heavier feedback on those letters. I mean, you know, it's amongst ourselves, but I'd love to. I mean, there's 220 some people signed up. Is there like a way you could ping them and say, hey, these are kind of ready to be looked at. If you got some time, please, you know, give us.
And maybe we just go ahead and create sort of the menu item and then the sub menu items, and then say that I can send links out to where the stuff is all kind of in one spot.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
And then that's kind of the beginning of what we were talking about. Yeah, I can do that. That sounds like a worthwhile project.
So Tony, I want to make sure I have this correct. So the call to action letters, you're going to do what with them?
We're going to try to put them in a place like a menu link that says current projects or whatever, so that that's sort of the parent item, and then underneath that, you'll be able to scroll down and see the categories like SBRs or silencers or 922 or whatever it is, and that way people can go there and they'll be able to see your input, your case, you know, GQ's graphic thing, you know, Warthog's letter, you know, all that stuff will be organized. So
let me just read this back to you and make sure I got it right. Call to action letters put into a menu link for the various subjects.
That's good enough, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got an idea of what we want, so that's good. You know, next week we can look at it and say, you know, we can change it or whatever.
Yeah.
And mine was, you know, what I was trying to do, like I said last week, was mine can be adopted for, you know, the title at the top can be the case for repealing, you know, SBRs, you know, as it relates to NFA or whatever. And those same bullet points really work. That's what I was trying to do is, you know, the philosophy works for any of them. You know, why they shouldn't exist.
Mine is heavily formatted around the one page, this goes and lays in some congressperson's desk, try to get their attention, and to try to be very small and not like over just stating the case. I guess the format I followed, and the key word is the action item at the end. And I think one of our people, it may have been MK, someone actually I already had a response back from one of their Congress people that was posted in our forum, and I really appreciate that, because one of the things that I saw that just made my radar go up is the person responded to the MK or whoever that said, I'll keep this in mind, and that gets back to part of what GQ, that link I was mentioning earlier, and how to deal with Congress people. They're going to give you some generic response that is basically designed to not make them do anything. The thing we need to do, that's once again in that link, is we need to hold them publicly accountable for their responses. It's something I didn't add into the letter per se, because I thought, well, we might want to really think about that. We don't want to be pushy and rude, but at the same time, I think we need to say, action required, and then we need to come up with another statement in the message that says, I don't know how to go about this. Once again, a lawyer might be better at it, but responses will be recorded at, response will be recorded at, or something to put them on notice that this will be publicly viewable.
Oh, did you see the thing that I posted about rating them? I was trying to respond to your wish for that. Did you see our rating system proposal that I came up with?
Run it by me again. I seen
well,
so many
if you look in the forum, I know this is the problem with the forum. You can post something and nobody ever sees it. I came up with a rating system proposal where we would basically, there was a 4-part. It was like, each part was 0 to 25. They would be rated on 0 to 100. One of them was like their platform, whatever. The other one was, the last one was their response to RGL, whether we were satisfied with it or not. And then we rate them on that. So, I mean, it's kind of it was just a way to get started on thinking about how we were going to record the response.
I mean, it's absolutely necessary component. I guess there's two ways I view it: how complex we want to make a rating versus how simple. I mentioned earlier there's potentially flavors of letter based on political stance to a person that we could potentially have, where rating might just be a foregone conclusion if you're sending it to Nancy Pelosi, that what the rating's likely to end up. We'll give her a fair chance. I mean,
right. If you go to the forum, and I'm stating this for the video for people watching. If you go to the forum and you see political ratings and rankings, that's my post. You go under there, and then the post is actually idea for rating and rankings. And you click on the PDF, you'll see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and each one has 0 to 25 points. And one of the columns is history. What is that politician's history? And the other one is the platform, which basically we would rank them on their current platform.
Okay, I have not seen this. I'm looking
at it. And one is the response to RGL. In other words, like I'm getting ready to rank Chuck Fleischman as 0 because he hasn't responded to me yet. And then the last one is like the NRA rating. And I threw that one in there just because I needed 4 categories to get to 100. So, and I have the links in the PDF. I have the links in my sources at the bottom. So, it's just, and it might seem like a lot of work, but I don't mind doing it and help or whatever. Maybe it's not every politician. Maybe it's just the ones that we contact.
Well, I think there's different ways based on our letters. We need our users, our community to give us feedback about those responses. We also need a way to almost collect that. I'd like to see a way that somebody can say, hey, I live in wherever or whoever their congressperson is, and say, we need the feedback from our people that says, I submitted to John Doe or Jane Doe and they did this. And we almost can only really, I think, no response, responded unacceptable, responded acceptable. And we need a way to collect our user community's opinions and get it into that. It's not just going to be our own. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd like to collectively see different people's responses, because I think in the end what really drives this is the same congressperson getting 100, 200, 1,000 letters, and we can gauge, is their response to the change? Have they actually gone from I'm thinking about it to I'm going to try to do something about
it? What I found from my research, just working on that, was that, and honestly, that's what kept me from getting my case for, the repeal thing in time, was that I was working on that. But what I found was that a lot of these politicians have a platform, but their actions don't match their platform. And that's really the message you want to get to people, is that, Chuck Fleischman said he was he was for gun rights, but what has he done? How does he respond to that? What does he propose? What are the actions that he's taken?
Yeah, most of them I've seen are all about not letting things change, and that's very negative from our perspective, because we're of the opinion and of the duty to repeal things that should never have happened here, and that's core to our message.
Holding the status quo is not fighting for our gun rights.
Right.
Exactly. And that's another good message point. I'm glad you said that, Dano. That's another message we can make to the public. There's reasons why we want to do what we're doing, and I think that's a good one you just articulated, is the status quo is not defending gun rights. Defending gun rights is doing what's right, not trying to be necessarily politically palatable, and we need to probably capture that in some way in one of our communications.
As well as not necessarily what's easy. I mean, just because something's hard doesn't mean we shouldn't go after it.
It's the hardest thing you can do as a politician. Honestly, fighting for gun rights, that is what we're up against. The hardest project for any politician would be to say repeal the NFA, because it is the status quo.
Well,
have a condition to accept it,
Well, and I think that's a long-term thing to go after, and we've decided, hey, we're trying to be actually somewhat palatable by saying, let's start with silencers and SBRs. We're not asking you to get rid of it right now. We just really want to test the low-hanging fruit in the public's eyes.
And that's why I put the little disclaimer at the bottom of mine that said this is basically a formatting proposal, not I'm trying to repeal the entire NFA right at this point.
These are all good parts of our messaging efforts. I put a link in the side chat there. You've got a part on the website, Tony, for references, I think, for websites that
the web links.
Yeah, I put one. Every Second Matters has a good one I've been using. It's pro firearms organizations. Maybe you can.
Oh, that's good.
It's just a place to. It's been really useful to me to go and see what other efforts are going on. One of the things that's confounding me is. We're obviously doing our own effort, but what's going on out there beyond us? Who's doing what and in what way? A lot of it's state efforts. A lot of it's, we hear Silencer Co. and some other companies really working hard on suppressors, but we just don't have access to that information. So anyway, little links like this have been useful.
And they don't tend to update you. Like, people come to me all the time and say, "Oh, SIGA did this, lawsuit. Well, what happened to it? That was a year ago. Where's the update? you Google it and you get the original article about it, but there's no, somebody's got to do research to find out what actually happened. A call to SIG or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we get the impression that other corporations maybe or other activist groups are doing the same things that we seek to do, but yet there's really no publicly available information I can find that demonstrates it. I mean, and I'd love to be able to be pulling in the same direction, maybe some other efforts, working in more synchronized fashion, but nope,
I'll
it's not
jump
there.
in here. There's nobody doing the same thing we're doing. That's just I think we're alone on as far as a prime mission of repealing gun laws. I have researched for weeks, and I don't know how many different pro-gun organizations I've dug through all their statements. None of them, as far as federal laws anyway, no other groups out there is stating that their existence is to repeal federal gun laws.
And I'd say my experience has been exactly the same.
Well, I did
that research. They're all...
Who was that? Was that you, Tom?
Yeah. I was going to say, from what I'm all saying is they're all fighting new gun laws.
Right. Actually, I consider it pandering almost. It's funny because the NRA called me the other day and said, we have a special need, and I was like, I have a special. I was like, wait. I stopped her and I said, I have a special need, and she said, what? And I said, I have a special need for the NRA to start repealing gun laws. It was like a robot. She went right into her spiel, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm pouring concrete, I gotta go. And I was, honestly, I wasn't lying. I was pouring concrete. But it was kind of like saying, okay, get out of this mode you're in.
Actually, Tony, I completely agree with that. I've started doing the same thing. That's one of the things I'd like to see us encourage is when your favorite pro-gun organization that you're a member calls and asks you for money, they do. It's going to happen. Ask them, oh, wait a minute. Now, before you ask me for money, let me ask you, when are you going to start working towards repealing federal gun laws? And to be fair, I had to stress federal gun laws. I mean, the NRA, I don't agree with them on probably more things than not, but they do a pretty decent job as far as local, and I can almost understand why, because it's kind of an easier task, but it's not really getting us anywhere either as far as...
Yeah, and I'm not criticizing the NRA. I'm a life member, okay? That's why they call me for wanting money. But,
right.
But I just thought it would be fun to kind of
Absolutely.
shake them out of their...
I want to encourage that. I want to encourage more people to do that because, they need to start putting in.
Let me bring up something else. The ballot for the board of directors on the NRA is currently open. I know I got one. Tony probably got one.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been a member of the NRA for 5 years or a lifetime member, you should have received the ballot. Maybe we should post a list of who we view as worthy votes on that ballot. I see a lot of people out there looking for that guidance because we don't know these people very well. I for one, don't. I only know of a couple. There's some that have made some really nice stands of late, and then there's those that are unknown basically. So it's kind of a time, how fast can we react, but who actually, or can we actually form that list? I think over at AR15.com there was a nice little thread that had begun on trying to vet, who was actually good. And there's another aspect. If there's somebody you want, vote for them. If you vote for other people just to try to fill in the other 25 blanks, because you're actually potentially detracting a vote from the person you want. So only vote for those you want.
This reminds me of something too that I've been trying to get you all to do, and that is post on the blogs, because a lot, if you all get me the information, I can post it. But you on the fly, you guys can post this stuff. It doesn't have to be a fancy. I think most people have shied away from it because they think that they have to come up, they have to be a journalist or something. But you know, even if you're just posting a comment and you're a regular member, you know, or, you know, the blog is a good place to do this stuff and to collect, you know what I mean, to collect those thoughts. And if you see something, you know, post it, or I guess you could do it in the forum. And then I can post, you know, maybe we can have an article going like that, you know. But it takes a lot of time to do the research. So, you know, we have to divide the work a little bit, you know.
We would almost have to yield to somebody else that we know that might give us guidance on that, like say Haas, you know, or somebody, one of our other, friends.
I'm talking about for the dirty work of actually posting it.
Oh, I'm talking about the vetting. The
Yeah.
posting's
Oh, the vetting is the easy part. Actually, putting the data together is the hard part. That's the work of it, you know.
Well, I have a list of names I'm going to try to throw in the side chat here.
Okay, so Dano's reminded me that it is 55 minutes. And so, does anybody else have any ideas or thoughts? Or, I don't know, Quark, you haven't said much. What's going through your little evil mind?
I haven't had a whole lot to say. I've been listening and dealing with cats, so.
Well, I still appreciate you being here. I don't know, I just feel better when everybody's here. It's fun.
Yeah, as you probably hear one of the cats right now, but
Well, my family.
you covered basically everything I wanted to bring up on air. So
My family keeps wanting a cat. And I said the only value I see to a cat is maybe including it in videos every now and then. I need a viral video every now and then. And they're like, no, you can't just get a cat to use it. I'm like, okay, don't get one then.
yeah. If you heard that big crash, that was my cat knocking something over.
Yeah. Well, my dog licks my leg, so I've got all the licking I can stand at one time, you know. I don't know what it is about dogs. They love me. I was down at Nathan Good's house today. He has a huge black lab. This is my NRA instructor. I went down to Atlanta today to shoot SIGs with him, which I'm excited about. That's my next pistol. See, I like SIG products. But he has a big old black lab, and I guess he smelt Max on me, and he was just licking me all over. I mean, and labs have a big old wet tongue now. I mean, huge tongue. So anyway, does anybody have anything to add?
Here's your
Yeah,
cat.
when do we want to go through the forms and start putting together a real letter to send out?
I think what we were trying to say tonight was that we were going to put that stuff, and you all correct me, we were going to try to organize it so that we could actually see it. You know, or maybe by next week we say, okay, we're going to try to have, you know, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like it depends on who we're talking to, like whether it's a letter or a bulleted point or a graphic thing like GQ. You know, maybe we have 3 different things, and we work. Those are 3 projects that we try to complete. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that. No, that I was just thinking when we actually put together and we start sending stuff out, whether it be graphics, bullet, or a letter.
Well, we have to get the wording correct, and this is the painful part, right? I mean, we kind of have to vet this stuff, you know. I want us all to feel comfortable when we're sending this stuff out, that, you know, we're not like sending it thinking at the same time thinking, wow, I really wish it said this, or I wish. It would be nice if we could all agree, you know, if we could all. I know that may not be totally possible, but I'm willing to try. You know.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause I'm pretty agreeable on almost anything. So.
I'll be honest right now. I like the way, you know, Warthog and Dano. I like their letters. I like GQ's graphics, and of course I'm biased, but I like the bullet point idea for simple, you know, for like philosophy points, you know. So I don't know. I just feel like we should have all three. We should just. I would vote for that.
Yeah, because all of them grab your attention.
And they all suit different purposes.
Well, this is where I kind of made a funny attempt to humor with a Second Amendment values menu. It's like you really maybe it's a basket of okay, I need this letter out of the basket, or I need a number 1 or a number 2. I need we want to provide people the tools to go forth and make the arguments, and it's not always the same tool. That's where it's a number 1 maybe for one person, it's a number 2 for another person. Do we actually adopt the philosophy? Well, we can only have one message for a particular situation.
No. Yeah.
And that's where I think we've had some good works, and for crying out loud, I look at all of them and say right on. I think it's tough at this point to say, well, one's better than another necessarily.
Yeah, and number 4 is our business cards, right? So you're going to have those are 4 downloads that
I think in the best case scenario, what we can do, because we want to preserve some element of democracy, is what Ruger did, is that we have in this, as an example, a letter or a handout, and it's a suggestion to our members that this is something they might want to use. They also might want to verify it for what they feel more comfortable with. But we can't just force our members to try to use something. That's not going to work.
No, not at all.
No, but we.
But we can suggest it.
We don't want people flying off. Let's just face it, Dana. We've already got somebody who's voting for Elizabeth Warren for president. Okay, so you're going to have members that will come in and we're going to have a certain amount of approved documents that we vet, because if we have a fill in the blank, we're going to have. You're just going to have all kinds of crazy stuff.
I'm not suggesting fill in the blank, but if you want our members to come along, you're going to have to give them a little bit of say, here's what we suggest as an organization. Obviously, you do what you choose. And that can mean
let me just say this. If those members want to have a say, they need to come in this meeting, and they need to get their ideas vetted just like we're doing. That's my stance on that.
If the message to the members is going to be use this or leave, they'll leave.
Well, no, that's not going to be the message. The message is we've had 10 meetings, and we are the only people that have shown up. If you have an idea, get your ass in here and state it. If you're really that passionate about it, get in here, state it, and let's vet it, just like we're doing. You don't. But no organization has who has 1 million members lets every. You think the NRA lets every member control their message? No, they don't.
It worked for Ruger, and
there is a form of letter that I created that's not there now because it didn't have space on the page, but it's basically the letter as we are vetting it with a room for a block at the bottom. And then that bottom block was kind of based on allowing a person to customize their conversation with their congressperson. It's our message, but at the end, it's kind of letting them say, hey, John or Jane Doe, I would like you to respond in this fashion, or to give an instruction, personal message, if you will. So I didn't use that because kind of what Tony's saying. I mean, it's kind of hard to let that. It can unravel, I guess, the image. But there is an option.
I'm putting the invite out right now for anybody, and I'll put it on the website. Anybody who wants to customize, just come in and give your ideas. That's all. If it's there's no reason for us to go out of our way to allow people to customize a letter 50,000 different ways for people who haven't even taken the time.
Quite honestly,
talk to us about it.
If they want to, they can. There's
exactly.
It's a free country. I mean,
that's true.
our goal is to actually give people a unified message if they want to participate.
Right.
To give them a, hey, I got to work, support a family, and I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm tired of this. I'd like to use your letter. Here it is. You know.
Right, but that doesn't mean I have to give them a method of tearing our message down.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So we're doing it as a public service, but we're not doing it to try to make everybody happy.
Customization is Mr. Blank Tony. Here, here's two address, and our message is the same though. There's no reason why we should have to change our message, our philosophy for each user.
I think
that's just not going to happen.
There's a point I think I really like. GQ put it in his letter that I really liked, and it's simple, but it's very powerful. And at the bottom, they basically state who they are, their name, but they also put repealgunlaws.com in it. And I think that signifies the group effort. That really shows that it's not just me, the individual congressperson. It's us. It's me as a member of a group, and we need to probably be specific about how maybe that can be used. So if somebody did customize theirs, then they put repealgunlaws.com at the bottom, that's where we could take issue with it potentially.
Right.
Because
but what are we going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. We are going to need all these members and their push. That's what we're depending on, because what we decided in this group will mean nothing unless we get the majority of our members to help us push.
Right, and we can control that by the website. When you go / SBR, this is our official letter. If somebody modified it, well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, and if they're going to modify it to slander us, it'll be they have to actually retype it. I'm not going to give them a text document that they can easily manipulate. You know what I mean? If they're going to misrepresent us, they're going to have to do a little work. That's all I'm saying.
But Tony, I can copy and paste a PDF right into a Word document within 10 seconds.
Yes, you can.
I mean, why just?
I think we're talking about, and this is something. Maybe this is something we need to talk about. This is sort of an internal issue. We certainly in the beginning we talked about, let's have our meeting and let's get our point out to people and our goals, and these kind of things we can hash out. So, but we have gone like an hour. We've gone over an hour, so maybe we should end it here, and then we'll have some things to work on this week, and then come back next week and maybe we can be a little more clear on what we want to do.
Sounds good.
At that point. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. Like I say, I always have more fun. I hope you guys do when there's more. All of us are here. And it makes me excited. Gets me excited. Makes me want to be a cheerleader again. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming. And we'll see you next Saturday. In the meantime, go to repealgunlaws.com and join us. Heck, it's free.
It is free.